Lily Carter. She was 12 years old, full of life, energy, and an uncontainable zest for the world around her. A smile that could light up any room, a beacon of joy that drew people in. Her laughter echoed through her home, a melody of happiness that resonated with everyone who heard it. It was infectious, pure and genuine, spreading warmth and cheer wherever she went. Everyone in their close-knit neighborhood knew Lily. They saw her grow from a curious toddler to a spirited preteen. They loved her bright spirit, her kindness, and the way she made everyone feel special. She was the heart of her small, quiet town, a place where everyone looked out for each other. A town where parents believed their children were safe, where the community felt like an extended family. A town that would soon learn a harsh lesson about the fragility of innocence. Lily adored her bicycle. It was a vibrant shade of pink, her absolute favorite color, a symbol of her vibrant personality. She rode it everywhere with a practiced ease that spoke of countless happy hours spent pedaling, exploring every nook and cranny of her world. Down familiar, sun-dappled streets she would go, her laughter mingling with the rustling leaves, past the friendly waves of neighbors tending their gardens, who always had a kind word or a smile for her. Her blonde hair, a cascade of gold, would fly freely behind her, catching the sunlight and shimmering like a halo. She was a picture of pure, carefree childhood joy, a living embodiment of happiness on two wheels. She knew every crack in the sidewalk, every blooming rosebush, every secret shortcut that led to new adventures. Her bike wasn't just a toy, it was her trusty steed, her ticket to daily adventures, her escape into a world of imagination and freedom. That fateful Tuesday morning started like any other in the Carter household, filled with the usual routines and the promise of a new day. The sun was shining brightly in a clear blue sky, casting a warm glow over everything. Lily finished her breakfast, a bowl of her favorite cereal, savoring each bite as she planned her day's adventures. She turned to her mom, who was busy in the kitchen, preparing for the day ahead. Then she hopped on her beloved pink bike, pedaling off towards adventure, her heart full of excitement, unaware of the darkness lurking nearby. A shadow that would soon change everything. Lunchtime came and went. Lily usually returned by then, her stomach rumbling, ready for a sandwich. But the house remained quiet, too quiet. Her mother, Sarah Carter, glanced at the clock. A small knot of worry began to form in her stomach. Just a little late, she told herself. Maybe Lily met a friend. Maybe she lost track of time, engrossed in her drawing at the park. Sarah tried to stay calm. She busied herself with chores, but her eyes kept darting to the window, watching, waiting for the familiar sight of that pink bicycle. As the afternoon shadows grew longer, the knot of worry tightened into a cold fist of fear. Sarah called her husband Tom at work. Her voice trembled. Lily's not home yet. Tom tried to reassure her, but he could hear the panic in her voice. He left work immediately. He raced home. Together they called Lily's friends. No one had seen her since morning. They drove to the park, her favorite spots, her usual routes. Nothing. The next morning, sunlight did little to dispel the darkness that had fallen over the town. The search for Lily Carter escalated. Local police were now joined by state troopers. Soon, the FBI arrived. Their presence signaled the grim reality. This was no ordinary case of a lost child. This was something far more sinister. A command post was set up at the local community center. Maps were spread out. Strategies were discussed. The town, once a haven of peace, was now a center of frantic activity. Fear was a palpable entity, gripping every heart. Law enforcement officers went door to door. They interviewed every resident in Lily's neighborhood. And then, the streets beyond. They asked questions. Had anyone seen anything unusual, a strange car, an unfamiliar person? Most neighbors were cooperative, eager to help. They shared any information they had, no matter how small. They offered coffee and food to the tireless search teams. They prayed for Lily's safe return. Section 4. A sinister scent unveils the truth. 23 agonizing days passed. 23 days of relentless searching. 23 days of prayers. 23 days of unbearable silence for Sarah and Tom Carter. The initial flurry of activity had slowed. The large volunteer groups had thinned. But the police investigation continued. Tirelessly. Methodically. They re-interviewed witnesses. They followed up on every lead, no matter how faint. The town remained on edge. Every child was held a little closer. Every stranger was viewed with suspicion. The weight of Lily's absence was crushing. Then came the call, a call that would change everything. It was a Tuesday, just like the day Lily disappeared. A neighbor of Robert Mallerie reported a strange, foul odor. An odor coming from Mallerie's backyard. It had been getting stronger for a few days. The neighbor had initially dismissed it, but the smell became unbearable, pervasive. Section 5. Inside the den of a predator. The discovery in Robert Mallerie's backyard sent a shockwave through the community. Grief, rage, disbelief. How could this happen? How could someone living among them be capable of such an evil act? Robert Mallerie was arrested immediately. The man who lived a quiet, unassuming life was now the focus of an intense murder investigation. His house, once just another suburban home, became a horrifying crime scene. Forensic teams descended upon the property. They were looking for answers. They were looking for evidence. They were about to step into the den of a predator. What they found inside Robert Mallerie's house was chilling. It painted a disturbing picture of the man who lived there. The house was cluttered, dirty, but it wasn't just the squalor that shocked investigators. In a locked room in the basement, they found items belonging to Lily: her pink bicycle helmet, her well-worn sketchbook, its pages filled with her innocent drawings. These were items her parents had described, items that proved Lily had been inside this house. Section 6. The Scales of Justice. Mallerie on Trial. The arrest of Robert Mallerie brought a somber relief to the town, but the horror of Lily's death cast a long shadow. The legal process began, and the community braced itself for the emotional roller coaster that was to come. Mallerie was charged with kidnapping and first-degree murder. He pleaded not guilty, setting the stage for a trial that would captivate the nation. The community watched, their emotions raw, as the case prepared for trial. The courthouse steps became a gathering place for those seeking solace and solidarity. They wanted justice for Lily. They needed to see the man responsible held accountable for his monstrous actions. The signs they held were a testament to their collective grief and determination. The protests grew louder, the chants for justice more fervent. The town was united in its demand for retribution. The media descended on the small town, reporting every development. News vans lined the streets and reporters jostled for the latest scoop. Lily's story became a national headline, a tragic reminder of the dangers children can face. The nation watched, horrified and heartbroken. The trial of Robert Mallerie was a harrowing experience for everyone involved, especially Lily's parents, Sarah and Tom. Their presence in the courtroom was a daily reminder of the personal toll of the tragedy. They sat in the courtroom every day, their faces a mask of grief and steely resolve. Their pain was palpable, a silent testament to their loss. They listened to the horrifying details of their daughter's final days. Each testimony was a fresh wound, each revelation a new agony. They saw the evidence presented, the photographs, the forensic findings. Each piece of evidence was another stab to their already broken hearts. The images of Lily's final moments were seared into their minds, a haunting reminder of their unimaginable loss. The prosecutor laid out the case meticulously. Every detail was scrutinized, every piece of evidence carefully presented, painting a picture of Mallerie as a calculating predator who lured an innocent child to her death. The narrative was clear and compelling. The defense attorney tried to argue that the evidence was circumstantial. He painted Mallerie as a misunderstood loner, not a killer. That Mallerie was a misunderstood loner, not a killer. But the weight of the evidence was overwhelming. The weight of the evidence was overwhelming. The photographs found on his computer, the forensic analysis that left little doubt, the photographs found on his computer, the digital trail that painted a damning picture, Lily's belongings in his basement, the physical evidence that tied him irrevocably to the crime. The trial was a painful journey, but the community hoped it would lead to justice for Lily. Section 7. Lily's Light, A Legacy of Hope. After weeks of intense testimony and a mountain of evidence, the jury retired to deliberate. The courtroom had been a battleground of emotions, facts, and heart-wrenching stories. The wait was agonizing for Lily's family and the entire community. Every second felt like an eternity, filled with a mix of hope and dread. But it was not long. The tension in the air was palpable as everyone held their breath. The evidence was too compelling, too clear. It painted a picture that was undeniable, leaving no room for doubt. The jury returned with their verdict: guilty. Guilty on all charges. The words echoed through the courtroom, bringing a sense of finality. Robert Mallerie was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The judge's gavel came down, sealing his fate. A collective sigh of relief swept through the courtroom. Tears of relief and sorrow mingled as people embraced. Justice, in its somber form, had been served. The weight of the verdict settled in, bringing a bittersweet sense of closure. Mallerie would never harm another child. The prison gates closed behind him, a finality to his freedom. He would spend the rest of his days behind bars, a place for predators like him, a place where he could no longer inflict pain. The conviction of Robert Mallerie did not bring Lily back. The emptiness in her room was a stark reminder of their loss. It could not erase the pain or fill the void. The photographs were bittersweet memories of a life cut short, but it closed a dark chapter, a chapter filled with anguish and unanswered questions. It allowed the community to begin the slow, painful process of healing. The vigil was a testament to their collective strength and unity. In the aftermath of the trial, Lily's parents, Sarah and Tom, made a courageous decision. They chose to channel their grief into something meaningful. They decided they would not let Lily's memory be defined by the darkness of her death. They wanted her legacy to be one of hope and light. They wanted her light to continue shining, a light that would guide others and bring awareness. They wanted to create something positive from their unimaginable loss, a beacon of hope for other families, something that would honor their daughter's joyful spirit, a spirit that was full of life and love. And so the Lily Light Foundation was born, a foundation that would carry forward Lily's light, its mission to promote child safety awareness and support families of missing children, a mission that would turn their tragedy into a force for good.